Presentation, I want to introduce our two speakers. Sean Leach, kind of a special guy in my life. Sean is the Vermont captain for the technical problem. He's the international problem captain for Odyssey of the Mind. He began his problem-solving journey with Odyssey of the Mind in 2000 when he coached his daughter Jen's fourth grade Odyssey of the Mind team at Allenbrook School. Sean then became a judge and problem captain in Vermont, as well as a head judge at World Time. Sean also serves on the Vermont Odyssey of the Mind board of directors. Sean is the international problem captain in charge of the technical problem for Odyssey of the Mind worldwide, which you'll learn more about. Lesley Adams is the Vermont Association director for Odyssey of the Mind. As the association director, Lesley's dedicated to ensuring that every young Vermonter has the space to find and share their creative voice. For Lesley, Odyssey of the Mind is a triathlon for the brain. I like that. A unique environment where budding engineers, builders, performers, and artists come together to solve the impossible. Lesley's journey began in 2005 when her son was in elementary school. I see a theme here. And she took on a coaching role. She joined the Vermont Odyssey board as the regional director for Northern Vermont in 2008. In 2012, she became the state problem captain for Problem 5, which is the performance problem, a specialist role that she held for 12 years. Appointed as Vermont's association director in 2023, Lesley now leads the program statewide, and she is focused on the strategic growth of the organization. Lesley's goal is to expand the reach of Odyssey of the Mind into every corner of the state. Please help me welcome Sean and Lesley.
Thanks very much, Nate. That was very sweet. So I am Sean, as she said, and we are time driven, so I have started our timer to make sure you don't run. Okay, so as soon as we can go to the first slide.
Yep, I am gonna do that.
Thanks so much.
I know how to do it. Thank you.
So what is Odyssey about? Slide. Next slide. It's about the kids. It honestly is. It's a way for kids to expand their creativity and have an outlet for getting their minds going and developing life skills. And it's an international problem solving competition. It's for kids from age kindergarten through college. And when they compete in 4 different age divisions. Odyssey of Mind, many of you have talked to already this morning. Either you were involved or your kids were. It's been around for 47 years. Wow. And it started in 1979. And Vermont was among the states that started that very first year, and I'm very proud of that. And one of the cool things about Odyssey of Mind, to see pictures of Vermont kids today on the slides, is that there is no assistance from anybody else other than up to 17 members. So adults, coaches, friends, parents, nobody can help you. There is an outside assistance penalty if there is help from others. And it's a very strict rule. And what you find out from that by making the kids do it, they can do it. And it will amaze you, right? And you can go to the next slide. So I mentioned life skills. That is one of the biggest things that kids carry away. It's a chance to either learn skills that they've carried throughout their life, or it'll enhance ones that they already have. And these little words are kind of buzzwords in education right now. And we all know that how important collaboration or teamwork, critical thinking, and analytical abilities, the ability to explore and engage in things. Those are all things that we want students to do, but we want them to do it so that they are a good, functioning, creative person out there in the world. And one of the fascinating things about Odyssey of Mind is when Dr. Sam Nicholas founded this program back in '79. He built this program in a way that the learning things that we're doing even today were there, and the program, other than what the actual problems are, hasn't really changed in that 47 years. It was a brilliant structure that he set up in his work. And as schools evolve and focus on different things, Odyssey of Mind is still relevant in all of that. Sometimes they change the names of things, but the foundational principles are already there. So next slide. This quote, which is, "It is often the curious one, the wandering wanderer, the incessant asker of questions who ultimately changes the world." That is why reaching every kid and every student is so important, because you can't tell looking at a group of kids which one are going to have the ideas that are going to advance our world forward and do the right thing. And so it's important to give an outlet for all kids. And Odyssey of the Mind does this superbly. Leslie and I could spend another 30 minutes telling you about individual students that we've worked with as coaches, where quiet little mice become great presenters and thinkers and willing to share ideas. It's an amazing creative outlet for students. Slide. The competition is divided into 3 different sections that they get scores. The long term, which I'll talk about in a second. There's a section called Style, which Leslie will talk a lot about, and then Spontaneous, and you'll hear about all of them. The one that the kids spend most of the time on are the long-term problems, and there's 6 different categories of problems. You'll hear about those in a second. They work on that problem for the entire year or season of Odyssey of Mind, and that can be several weeks or it can be several months. The problems come out in September, and kids work on them. In some states, the larger states and countries, start having competitions as early as this coming weekend. So it can be a long process or it can be abbreviated, but it's up to whatever the team and the coach want to do. Each problem has specific criteria that the kids have to meet, but it's so broadly written that they can put whatever, or a candy shop or making some new invention or something like that. And remember, this is all done by the kids. Every brainstormed idea, everything that they make has to be the kids. And unlike this presentation, they only have 8 minutes to do their performance. But the first problem is our vehicle problem. Every year it's about vehicles. And the kids design and build a vehicle and a propulsion system for it that does a certain tasks, might be going through a maze, picking up devices, putting kids in certain places. There's very specific criteria of what those vehicles have to do. On the left, you'll see a large vehicle. That's one that a kid actually rides on and usually pedals or something like that, some form of propulsion. And then the little slide in the middle is a small vehicle, and those are just little tiny ones that are self-propelled, and each year it alternates. Slide. This problem is the one near and dear to my heart. It's the technical problem. I had no technical background, but I learned it through coaching, how to deal with technical problems. And each year the kids design and build either a device or a robot that will perform certain tasks that are required in the they got something or spinning something or moving something or whatever it might be. And there's also tasks that the kids can design and build out of their own idea. It doesn't have to be something that's prescribed. And that technical stuff is woven in the performance with their skit, how they do it. And each year the requirements for all problems change. So it's never stale. Next. Problem 3 is the classics, and that's a problem that the theme of whatever's being done that year has to do something with something classical, like mythology, art, music, literature, fables, theater, or anything else that can be considered classic. And the performance is largely performance. There's a little bit of technical stuff in it, but mostly it's a performance type problem. Next. The structure problem, kids build, and while I'm talking, look at that little structure underneath that red pressure board. They build a structure out of balsa and wood glue, and that's all that they can use for it. Very specific criteria, can't weigh more than a certain amount. And the structure has to hold as much weight as it possibly can. And I've seen it world where a structure like that will hold 1,400 pounds before. I mean, it's unbelievable. You say, like, that can't be real, but it really is, because you find out how real it is once they add weights during their performance, which is, might be a performance about hiking or whatever it might be. But kids are adding weights to it during that 8 minutes until that board finally comes down, squashes it, and then you can see it's only made out of balsa and glue. So that's a real cool one. And there's usually a little wrinkle in every problem. This year, the wrinkle is not only does it have to withstand the weights, but it's 3 different points of various sized balls roll down this ramp and smash into it and hopefully don't break it. Last year, there was one where there's 3 interlocking structures that they built to make their big structure that still had to be that small bit on there. And it's amazing. I could never do structure. Next. Her heart just skipped a beat because Leslie was the problem captain for many, many years, and her team competed in the performance problem. And that is one for the theater kids, you know, without lack of a better word. They like to perform, and so they write and create a performance that ties into whatever the theme is for that year. Still with those criteria that we talked about. And a problem might have a requirement for a specific character that they use, or it might have to involve humor or whatever it might be, but it's an original story that the kids create. Next. This is the one that'll choke you up a little bit because this is the primary one, and it's for kids generally that are 1st and 2nd grade on some really cute, ridiculously lovely theme. Like this year, it's clowning around with science. There's been years where it's focused on dinosaurs, of course. There was one about candy shops. And it's the way to get our young kids involved, learn how to do the problem, learn how to solve them, learn how to work together. And the interesting thing about the primary one is it's on purpose. We don't score that one. We just give them feedback so that they learn. So as you can see, just from these 6 general categories, there's a lot to offer for the kids. It's not just robotics. It's not just performance. There's something in it for every kid. And sometimes kids don't even know they're into it. If they're interested in it, their friends were, they join the team, and they become experts on it too. And you're going to hear a lot more about that from Leslie.
Thank you, Sean. I think just looking at the slides and seeing the kids either heavily costumed, the sets really colourful, I think that is what Odyssey of the Mind is really at its heart. It is a place, as we said, where kids can express themselves creatively, artistically, technically. But really, for me, one of the most important things about Odyssey of the Mind is that once kids have come through the program, they learn some really important things. And they learn that creativity is unlimited. They learn that taking creative risks can be rewarded. And they also learn that they have this incredible gift that often they do not really appreciate until they step into the Odyssey of the Mind program. And that is that their imagination is their superpower. And the Odyssey is incredible fun. And we have different elements, as Sean's pointed out, within our program. Sean touched on long term, which is the bulk of the work as he described. But the place where we really see that incredible creativity, or that place where kids really get to express themselves and the creative, innate artist that they might be, or that technical wizardry master that they are, is in style. Next slide, please. And then the next one. So style is a place where we have young people really tap in, or in fact designing something for themselves to wear that they would never consider wearing anywhere else. They would never in fact have that confidence or bravery to actually step in and put a weird hat or costume. In fact, this young gentleman, I think, is wearing a mop on his head. But that is what Odyssey gives them permission to do. It frees them. And that's what kids really need. It steps them out of that classroom environment where they're focused so much on performance, achievement, the right answer, finding the right answer. Well, in Odyssey, they find out that there are many answers, and there is no actual one right answer. Everything that we offer young people in Odyssey of the Mind is the opportunity to find a solution that's highly creative, but that can be utterly unique. We have a world competition, and I'll touch on that in a little minute. We bring kids from all over the world to compete, and there's not one single solution that will be the same. They start at the beginning of the year with problems that we've got on the table, and at the end of it, they have something that's truly unique and wonderfully creative. Next slide, please. But there's another part of our program which is really important, because Sean highlighted that in Odyssey of the Mind, the adults step back. This is about kids. This is about kids thinking. This is about kids problem solving, working collaboratively, doing things together. And the adults basically are facilitators, they're guides, they're coaches, not in the sense of a soccer coach standing directing the team on the field, The adult, the coach, steps back, lets the kids think the problem through, lets the kids come up with the ideas. They have to own it 100%. But we also have a really important training program. But we don't tell the kids it's a training program. We call it spontaneous. And spontaneous is where we teach the kids how to think quickly, think together, collaborate. Now we put these problems to kids and have a chance to try it yourself today. We put these kids through the paces of thinking quickly on their feet, solving problems. Slide, please. So we have this process where they don't know what the problem is going to be. It becomes a secret. And at competition, they step into a room and they are presented with a problem on the spot. And as a team, in sometimes only 5 minutes, they have to work together to solve it. Slide, please. And we offer them different types of problems because we're trying to improve their verbal creativity. We're trying to give them the opportunity to express themselves verbally and creatively. We also want them to have a chance to practice building, constructing, manipulating materials, making and repurposing things, putting things to other uses. This is one of the fundamental principles of Odyssey of the Mind. And then we sometimes offer them a combined problem where we mix their verbal skills with their hands-on skills. This is a very practical part of our program because it's a training, it's a foundation. But it's also the part where the coach does work with the team, does help train the team, help the young people thinking how they think, becoming aware of how they think, and then applying that thinking in the different types of problems that they're being asked to solve. So this is very much coaching, whereas the long term is very much coach in the background, just supporting, guiding, and making sure that the kids are in a really very safe place. Next slide, please. So how do we, as a program in Vermont, work to help kids and prepare kids? Slide, please. We have a number that we do throughout our year. What we're doing right now is we're really investing in awareness sessions, and we're also investing in workshops because we're trying to reach as many students across Vermont as we possibly can. And so by creating these awareness sessions where we invite kids to come in and actually get hands-on, they do work, they do problems. So when you're seeing the images here, you'll see that we're really offering kids the opportunity to try out Odyssey of the Mind when they come to these either awareness session or workshop. Next slide. During those workshops and on all the events, we are always trying to give kids the opportunity to learn something, to take away something, maybe a new skill. And so just recently, just a few weeks ago, we actually ran our workshops for this season. And at those workshops, we have an incredible, what we call cardboard construction. Take a box and make it into something quite extraordinary. And that's literally what these kids do. And so there is an example on here of 2 young people who are elementary school, like they're 3rd graders, who in 30 minutes took a cardboard box, turned it into a cat, a dish of food, and that was simply a cardboard box. They had half an hour to work on. I mean, that's extraordinary. But what it's saying is we're giving the kids perhaps the freedom, the permission to just go for it, to take a risk, to do something that they might not otherwise think they can do. But my goodness, as Sean said, once we let them do it, they know they do it. We see them do it, which is really what is most rewarding about the program. Next slide, please. So competitions. It is a competitive program. So we do have a competition in Vermont. We have what I call our state tournament, which actually takes place in March, on March 21st this year. Next slide, please. And there, kids come, they bring their solutions that they've been working on months, and they come to compete with others in the same age category and in the same problem. Next slide, please. And these are just some of the examples of images that we have captured from those competitions each year. Next slide, please. And then the next slide. So this is one of the important things about Odyssey. We are an organization of volunteers. So we don't have anyone who is paid staff. We are all volunteers. We volunteer our time. Next slide. So our volunteers generally come as coaches, typically parents. I think that's both Sean and I stepped into this as parents and coach. We can become judges and officials, as we have done over the years. We have coordinators at the school level. We work with teachers. And then we obviously have our board of directors. Next slide, please. So here's what we say is a big takeaway, coaches, because we do know that this is a time investment. We're asking, adults to work with groups of kids over several months. But I'm just going to give you a second to just look at that slide, because that really is what we all feel in our hearts. The importance of a coach, the importance of the adult that works with these kids over those months. They leave a lasting impression. Next slide, please. And I think that Sean had a slide that had a quote from John Spencer, but here's two of, I think you might say the leading experts, thought principles in education right now. And I think John Spencer's is really important, because he says students don't need us to believe in them once they succeed. Students need us to believe in them so they can succeed. And then from John Katie's research, he's researched millions of students across the world. He says that one of the strongest influencing principles for a young person is that a young person knows that an adult believes in them. That is one of the most influential factors in a young person's opportunity to succeed, that an adult believes in them. And that's what we do within Odyssey of the Mind. We cheer them on. That is literally what we're doing. We're not doing the work for them. We support them, we give them the space, and then we believe in them. And that is what we hope, we translates to them having success. Next slide, please. So I think I'm going to hand back to Sean now. I think it's time for you guys to maybe have a chance at doing this.
Don't groan, don't groan. Hey, while we're transitioning, how many of you have actually done Odyssey of the Mind as what we call an over? Nice and I can be proud of it. Okay, sure. How about if you've coached? Okay, how about if your kids have done Odyssey of the Mind? Okay, great. And how about if you just heard of it in the past? Okay, super. All right, did you get all those names? Those are all. All right, let me go ahead. Okay, next slide. Guess who's about to solve a spontaneous problem? Next slide. Okay, so this spontaneous that we're going to do is called roundabout improv. We just did this as our training thing a couple weeks ago, like Leslie mentioned. And your team are you and the other people at your table. So we've got 6 different teams. Do not be threatened by this. In front of you is a white envelope. So open up those white envelopes and just spread the material, the stuff, the other paperwork we have on the table. You won't need that. Spread them around so people can reach them. You don't have to, you don't have to sort them or anything. Just dump them out so everybody can reach some of the objects that are in there. And while you're doing that, decide which of your people at your team is going to respond first when we start this. And it doesn't matter because you're all going to do it. So someone just please very quickly say, hey, I'll go first. And there's enough time that you don't need to freak out about it. Who's willing to go first? Just decide that amongst yourself. But if I start, that doesn't matter. Okay. No, hang on. Don't do anything else yet. We're going to tell you the rest. All right, here we go. Okay, I'll go first. You all need to listen. Thank you. I taught first grade. Comes in handy. This is a verbal hands-on skill, so problem. So you're going to be speaking about these objects, and you may be doing something with them. That's up to you. You're going to have an opportunity to ask us questions before we actually start. So don't worry about one and they get more points. We're not scoring you today. We're going to debrief afterwards. So now you need to really listen. Oh, next slide, please. One more. Okay, so here are the directions how this works. You're going to have 1 minute to think of responses in your head. Don't say them out loud. Remember, you can't talk to each other. And then once we start time again, you'll have 4 minutes for your people to take turns giving a response to this. You are not allowed to talk to each other once we start. There's a group of objects on the table in front of you. You can use them in any way, but you cannot damage them. You will take turns responding. One of you will give the first response, and then it'll go around to the person on your right over and over again until we run out of the 4 minutes. So we start. When it is your turn to respond, speak loudly and clearly. You do not want to repeat a response that's already been given. And here's what the problem actually is. It's in red on there. You have the sheets in front of you as well. Your problem is to say something about the objects, improvise with them, or both. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples so you get the hang of it. For example, grab my objects. For example, you could hold up 2 of them and say, these are both circles. Or you could say, these are washers and they're used to build something. Both of those would be common responses. Or you could pick up these and say, this is a snowman. Or you could do these and say, I'm going to melt these down and make a metal fork out of them. Or you could say, here's my washer, where's my dryer? All of those are examples of creative responses. I'm proud of that one. I thought of that. Okay. Any questions about what you're going to do? We're not starting the time yet. Any questions about what you're going to do?
Right here,
Yes.
as we go around, each of us have a chance to say what we're gonna do with them,
Yes.
but do we go around more than once?
Yes. You go out till the 4 minutes is up. A great question. You might only make it around once. You might make it around 3 or 4 times. And either way is okay. Yes.
Is the next person building on what I say, or they're doing their own thing?
That is a great little secret. You can, but you don't have to.
Okay.
Yep. You hit on one of the important things. If you listen to the others, sometimes they're like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to do this. But you might come up with your own. They do not have to build on each other. Excellent question. Any other questions? Yes.
So the first person goes and they talk for a minute?
No. Sorry. The 1 minute is your time to think. You're going to brainstorm in your head so that you can think. You want to come up. Hang on, guys. You want to come up with maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 responses that you might give. And that way you'll be prepared. You won't use any of the 4 minutes to think about it. And if someone says the same thing that you were going to do, then you say, okay, I can't do that one. I'm going to do one of these others. So then after the 1 minute of think time, then I'll stop you and we'll start again with the actual responses in that last 4 minutes. And you just give a quick response, it goes to the next person. Quick response goes to the next person.
So do you say it or do you?
You say it. Oh, either. I mean, it's a little more meaningful if you hold it up and say what you're going to do with it, but that's an individual choice of this group. Any other questions? Okay, remember you can't talk to each other from now on, and your 1 minute of quiet think time begins now. So just think about it. Don't talk. Keep those thoughts in your head. And just to review once again, you're going to have, don't talk to each other. Don't talk to each other. Don't talk to each other. You're going to have 4 minutes to respond. You're not allowed to talk to each other. There's a group of objects on the table in front of you. Use them in any way you want, but you cannot damage them. And you will take turns responding. The person on your right will respond and will talk. And when it's your turn to respond loudly and clearly, and you should not repeat a response that's already been given. And once again, here's your problem, and you're gonna have 4 minutes. And as soon as I start the clock, and the first person to your group, say what your response is. Your problem is to say something about the objects, improvise with them, or both. Begin.
Am I supposed to talk? Yeah, you said you were gonna go first.
You can ask me your question.
This is Frog.
Okay, then go on to the next person. Once you respond, go on to the next person.
These are my, objects that I'm making my necklace and my. On a unique day. I'm going to make a necklace. It's fun, it's what I really
Okay, so this is a starter kit for those, where, you know, when you do this, so you make your lobes really big. Oh, yeah. And then you move up to that.
When you get to the light green. Dun, dun, dun.
What I would do with this is I would stack that on the colors that match. Except that we don't have all the colors, but that's what I would do, is I would try and find things that match the colors. Stack them.
Coins. Is climbing up a tree to make some.
I would put their values, and one of them, a money value, and I put them all in a bag. From you? My banker. Right, so these will be buttons on, Joseph's coat of many colors. Another starter.
Very nice. So what I would do is I would take these and I would
The
start
animals
building
restaurant.
a very tall. So, and it would have to end with this button, with this button, because this has this curve to its top. So that's what I would do.
How close.
I would make a mosaic out of crowds, and then I would cover three, powder three at the top.
Winter Olympics.
Wow.
My favorite things.
I would take. I would take these bigger things and make a hole so I could put this inside of it. And then I would, so it would be a mobile.
Make it into the cross.
These are little doggy rewards. So I would give them to my dog when he goes poopy in the backyard like this. Which I'm having trouble with right now. Then he probably eat them, and then they have to poop those out.
I was gonna say, these are my cat's footprints in the leaf.
Okay. Answer.
Honestly, like, I don't usually act like that. But that was really impressive. And it saw so many cool answers. So I'd like to give you each table a chance to maybe share one or two things, if you want, that you thought that you responded to, you think the others might enjoy. So which table would like to just offer a couple of your ideas? Doesn't matter. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we built a lot of things. Built a locomotive, we built a solar system, we built an atom.
Wow.
Cool. Excellent. Those are great. Anybody else? Go ahead, Kevin.
We had the development of penicillin in a petri dish.
I have not heard that on this problem. Other ideas that you want to share with the group. These are all fun. Yeah.
We had the Olympic ring.
Oh, nice.
Olympics have brain.
Yeah.
I had 2 washers here and I got my kit and I put everything together, followed all the directions, but there were these 2 pieces.
Oh, that sounds like an IKEA problem. Any others? Okay, a couple of things. Did you find that it was helpful to listen to your team members and maybe that gave something for you to build on? So you can see what skill we're working on there. What did you do if this happened, if you got stuck? Because life with problems, you get stuck. I heard a fantastic one at this table over here, but what did anyone get stuck and what did you do? Yeah, just describe the obvious, and I won't point out the person because he or she didn't raise their hand, but someone said, this is the baggie that all of these things went in. Also, her team being stuck and can't advance. She stated the obvious. It would be a common response, but it's a good one, and you want to keep it moving. So that was really brilliant. Loved all of those. Okay. You get Deb, I got behind. Go ahead, about 2 or 3 more. One more. Okay. Now, before we wrap up, we're at the time that we should have wrapped up. I have to tell you a quick little Williston Odyssey mind story. That's absolutely true. This was back before 1999 when I started with Odyssey in mind. And there was a Williston team that I believe it was Problem 5, and this probably happened in the late 80s or so. The problem that they had to solve was to identify an issue or a problem that they were going to fix, a life type problem. They had to develop a product and they had to develop a marketing scheme to sell the product. So this Williston team said, hey, you know what? If you're an athlete and you're always on the go, it's really hard to get a good healthy snack while you're doing all your activities. So they thought, what if we took yogurt and stuck it in like a little plastic tube type thing? And then when you're zipping along, you could just open that up and squeeze out or suck out the yogurt, and there's your thing. And obviously, since they're on the go, it was yogurt, it became yogurt. So they did very well at state. They placed and advanced to world finals, competed there. When the competitions were all done, the team thought, this is actually a really cool idea. And by the way, Go-Gurt did not exist at that point. They contacted Yoplait, which is a yogurt manufacturer, a subdivision of General Mills, and shared with them what they did. Well, Yoplait loved it and created it, and that's the real beginning of yogurt, Go-Gurt, despite what you read on Wikipedia. And the only thing that was sad about that is the company did not acknowledge this Williston team. But that is how Go-Gurt. So next time you see Go-Gurt, it started with Odyssey in mind.
Nice.
Slide. So we're going to put up these last remaining quotes, and this is the time for questions. And Leslie and I'll field questions.
Yeah.
So anybody have any questions? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, are all the materials provided? Is there any cost to the students to participate?
Yeah, usually some of the schools will provide membership for the teams to do it. Anything that they create and build on their own, they either do fundraising or they have to provide the cost of whatever their materials are. Each problem has a limit of how much they can spend on it. Like our problem is $165. Most of them are around that. And sometimes, the PTO supports them. And interesting, you mentioned that when our team, the 2 years advanced to World Finals, this is one of the things I was going to end with, Williston Rotary actually donated some money to our Williston teams, our Allenbrook team and our Williston Central, which my daughter flipped schools in the middle of that. And so I wanted to thank you folks today for doing it. It's not a plug for money today, but I wanted to bring it full circle. But yeah, it's up to the team to come up with that. But schools, PTOs, some businesses will sponsor teams that help to pay the cost. Great question.
When is this happening? It obviously takes quite a lot of time. And is it a school project or a teacher project? Is it during the day or after school?
Typically, teams meet after school. It is an after-school program. It's an after-school program. Some schools do incorporate it into their curriculum, but typically in Vermont, we're after school. And so they meet perhaps at the school or a library or some place that they can meet and they work together. It starts in early fall, so September. Every year, the end of August, the new problems come out and teams get together September into October and begin the process. And then they come through in Vermont right to their March competition on 21st March, and that's our state. If they advance to Worlds, the World competitions at the end of May. So that's the cycle. This annual begins September through to May.
Yeah. Luckily, I know what people.
Yeah, this is a really educational and creative sort of idea. What is known about the history of OM and how it started? I mean, who came up with this incredible, wonderful idea?
Yeah, it was started by Dr. Sam Nicholas. He was a college professor, and he liked to have challenge his students and have them do various things. So the way that actually started was and he's taught in the sciences, I think. He had the kids design some sort of vehicle or something that would transport people on a body of water. And so, you think, oh, cardboard canoe and all that kind of stuff, which was there. But this one team did this thing that had great big 2x4s and inner tubes on the feet of it and stuff. And there was levers and stuff, and it actually worked like a water strider. And it failed miserably, but it was very creative. Wow, if I can get kids to do that, ... And here we are today. Yeah, great question. Yeah, and then I think we have to wrap up.
I participated in the late 80s with our 3 daughters who are now middle-aged women. And I was a coach and had a great time. It was a wonderfully challenging experience. And I think the great thing about this is that so infrequently these days when kids are educated, they're taught what to think, but almost never how to think. And that's the critical thing.
Well said.
And that's a great way to end. That is the essence of the program. I hear the bell go off. Our 8 minutes is up. Thank you for having us. If you want to judge or volunteer, talk to us later. We'll hang around to the end of the meeting if there's other questions.
Leslie, Leslie, can you come back up? This is for both of you. In thanks and appreciation for we're making a donation to the Country School has a mentorship program. The number of Rotarians also participating. So this is the part of telling you more about it. Thank you. And now we have the Own Borders drawing. If you could draw the lucky ticket and read the last 3 digits. And the ticket for today is 328. 328.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was fabulous. Got our juices going. Great day to start the day. We only have about 2 minutes before we do Happy Find. We have a couple announcements. So if anybody's going to talk, we only have about 2 minutes. So I'm going to go to Chris first.
I'm not going to use that to use a really loud voice because I need to use my hands. So you can hold the mic for me. Okay. So I have 2 visual aids I want to share with you. Don't judge the artwork. The first, when I've talked about fundraising, I've talked about going out, and getting donations for the country. Excuse me. Going out and asking businesses to give donations to the club to support our charitable events. In that same frame, we've talked about members making donations. And one way we do that is, oh shoot, I'm sorry, just one of those days. What I wanted to do today is show you what our fundraising goal is. I haven't mentioned it enough, and I want to show you where we are. I want to motivate you. So I excuse the artwork. Like this. Okay. So no claps because we're not doing that. Our fundraising goal to support our charitable work is $17,000. It's an ambitious goal. It's a goal. It's like, I would like to lose 15 pounds, but am I? Probably not, but I want to get really close to that. So to date, we have raised $5,200. We have several months left. So I'm just really encouraging you to think about how we can move the needle and I can begin to color in more of this thermometer. So that's the first one. The other way we raise money to support our charitable events and to support our causes is through events. And we're almost finished with this year's events. I've mentioned before, they're the 5K run, the craft fair, the holiday luncheon, Adams Cocoa, which was new this year, and we're in the middle of the Bill Skiff's Story Slam. So what this thermometer shows is that to date, our net profits are $7,805. So $1,500 for the 5K run, about $4,000. These are rounded. About $4,000 for the craft fair. $870 was raised for sponsors for the holiday lunch. $235 for the cocoa at Adams, and we've received several sponsorships already for the Bill Skiff Story Slam. What's important about that is that's our last event of the year, and what we need to do is get the sponsors, but we also need to sell tickets, right? And ticket sales and sponsors will help us. We don't have a goal for how much we want to raise through our events. It's just money. The thing to remember is it's net profits. And for the things like the Bill Skiff Story Slam, we're supporting the cause as well. So half of what we make goes to the cause, and half of what we make comes back into our charity budget. So we'll be looking at what the net profits are. No, Sherry's shaking her hand. It's not 50-50. That's changed. Okay. I apologize.
Portion.
A good portion of it will, it's going to Hedius. Okay, that was maybe.
Portions going to our charity.
Okay.
Which is what we.
All right, my information, mine is from a previous board meeting, and I obviously didn't get that right, but it's net profits that we're talking about for events. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris. You might go next week or the other. Okay. Yeah, 2 minutes. You do. You do.
So for this, we do have our posters, you guys. Thank you, Susan and Lisa, for getting this together. We have our posters for the with the QR code that we're going to be looking to put up in various locations. I know we already have one at the library and the town hall and Hannaford's. But if you go to coffee houses or places where you think people are actually going to look and read a poster standing around for a minute, ask me and I printed them off. I'll happily print off more. We wanted to inundate the area with information. Sponsorship. We took the sponsor form that we already had, and Elizabeth creatively and Tracy renamed the sponsorship amount. So $100 is a snowflake supporter, $250 is a squall supporter, $500 is a flurry supporter. We have $1,000 is a whiteout, $2,000 is a blizzard hero. So $500 and more, we're gonna have it so that the logo will, you know how we had the Skip Story Slam on the screen last year on the stage? We're gonna make it so that their logo, the business logo, is also up there. So it's advertising for 2 hours for whomever chooses to give $500 or more. We're up to $1,200 right now in sponsorships, but Elizabeth and I have a bunch of emails that we hope will get some positive responses. So if anyone else knows of someone a business or individuals who may be interested in sponsorship, if you're not comfortable approaching them, feel free to give me a name and an email address and I will happily do it. So that's all I have. Ticket
sales, we're gonna start selling tickets, keeping a sign-up sheet here. So you can buy tickets through, what's it called,
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite. Thank you, Lisa. And Lisa, I worked hard on that. There's a fee for that, but of course, members buying tickets, we can, and anyone else you know, if you don't want to have to pay that fee, we can do the tickets right through, Andy, like we did last year. Okay, that's.
Thanks. I'm gonna bring Chris up. The other thing I'm gonna say is next week is a club assembly. We've talked a little bit about, Chris has talked many times about where we are in the club, and she did mention that 17,000 is an estimate, and I get that. But